What's up, black people? How you doing? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor, and I'm also not a finance professor who happens to be black, but I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So today, what we're going to talk about on the Black Financial Channel is I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, but toward the end, I'm going to give you my stock pick of the week, the stock that I really like that I think is going to do well, and I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about what's happening in the markets right now, as well as things you may want to do when it comes to your money, secret things that rich people don't tell you, and how you can get ahead. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're about to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. This is theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we believe in the B1 philosophy. B1 means that we are black first. That doesn't mean you have to be black to be here. You can be anybody and still be here, and we will love you because we don't hate anybody. But one of the things I need you to understand is that we put our community at the top of the priority list. We ain't got time for trifling racist people. And we ain't got time for trifling Negroes neither. So if you're in one of those two categories, and you might want to get the hell out because everything we're going to be talking about is about planning. It's about winning. It's about achieving. It's about high levels of accomplishment within our community. It's about putting our kids ahead of the pack instead of sitting around whining. Yeah, yeah, it's so hard to be black. Yeah, there's nothing we can't do because we black. Yeah. We don't do that victim talk. We are winners over here. We are not losers. We are winners. So if you are a winner, if you believe that the black community can win, if you believe the black community can dominate when it comes to wealth building within the next 50 years, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. Hashtag B1. That's the calling card we use. Use that hashtag anywhere that you are speaking on the internet, and then the other B1 family members will find you. So B1 doesn't mean you're black. We can't save some of these Negroes. We can't save everybody. But B1 means that you believe in black excellence. B1 means you want to break generational curses. B1 means you want to rise up and above all the nonsense that you're seeing all around you. So let me ask you guys right now. I want to check to see how many of you are stock market investors. Is everybody investing consistently? How many of you, give me a yes or no, are consistently putting money into the stock market every single week? Give me a yes in the chat if you fit. Hello, Francis and Anthony and Rasta Stocks and Courtney Taylor and True Total Package. I see you. Give me a yes if you've been consistently investing. Now, why do I ask that question? I start off asking that question because one of the things that you got to understand is that the thing that rich people do, one of the things rich people do, I'm gonna tell you another little secret that rich people follow in a minute when we get to it, is they are very consistent about investing. The same way that some of us are consistent about making sure we go to the liquor store every Friday, or some of us are consistent about making sure we get to the club, or like when I was in college and I knew guys that were super consistent about practicing for the step show so they didn't embarrass themselves. Well, wealthy people tend to be really consistent about making sure that they're planting seeds for the future. That's just what it is. That's why you have some people in this society that have more money than others. You guys know this is my area of expertise. All I did for many, many years, for about 12 years before I got my PhD, was I sat around and I studied wealth, where wealth comes from, who has the money, why some people have more money than others, all kinds of things like that. And one of the things I noticed is that there is such a thing as a poverty mindset, and there is such a thing as a wealth building mindset. Mindset is everything. So let's talk about that a little bit. First thing I want to mention is toward the end, I'm going to give you my stock pick of the week, a stock that I really like that I'm actually going to invest in once my cash flow frees up. And then I'm also making a note to myself to share something that I just read up on that wealthy people are doing to allow themselves to avoid paying taxes. One of the things you guys may not know is that part of the reason that America is in deep financial trouble, part of the reason your country is eventually going to go bankrupt, is because rich people don't pay their fair share in taxes. People like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and others, they don't pay taxes the way you and I do. They pay far lower taxes, and there are a few reasons why, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you know anybody that can benefit from these conversations or from these discussions, please share this video with them, because we really would like to get the message out to other potential B1ers out here who are worthy, who are really trying to make a difference, who really want to elevate the community. So anyway, let me keep going. All right, so the first thing I want to mention is that as the market, as we sort of look at this week coming up, the stock market is, I talked to you guys about this yesterday. A lot of the reason that your stocks acted crazy last week was because of this Delta variant. And I want to repeat to you that most of my research is indicating to me that this Delta variant is not going to be a big factor long term. The Delta variant, all it does is it represents your opportunity to do what Warren Buffett always said. Warren Buffett always said to get greedy when others are fearful, be fearful when others are greedy. When they're running away, you run toward you. When they're running away from something, you run toward it. When they're running toward something, you run away from it. So with the Delta variant shaking up the markets, a lot of people ran away from the markets and let their stocks go. Well, that's a lot like your best friend, not your best friend, or let's say your arch rival, and he has a real pretty girlfriend that you wanted to date, and then he dumps her and leaves her, lets her be free for about 3 months. Well, maybe that's your opportunity to go date her because he doesn't understand the value of what he's got in his possession. Well, the same thing is true with stocks. There are people that let go of their stocks cheap last week because they were so afraid of the Delta variant, when really the Delta variant was a temporary issue that isn't, in my view, likely to impact the long-term pricing of stocks. The question with the Delta variant will be answered over the Olympics and also during when school starts. If they start shutting down schools again, then the Delta variant could become more of an issue. But right now, it's really just something that's designed to be part of the fear porn that media feeds you to make you afraid to walk outside your front door. I do not believe that corporations and CEOs are prepared for another shutdown. I do not believe that they want to give up the $100 billion in profits that they would all be collectively making by shutting down another year over something that has a 99.9% survival rate. Now, I'm not telling you that these things aren't real. I'm not telling you to go out without your mask. I'm not telling you to not wash your hands, not to take care of your health. I'm not telling you to do any of that. I am just telling you, though, that I don't see a shutdown happening. So anytime there's a little bit of a shift in prices because of that, I like to go scoop up a lot of these high value companies that suddenly become cheap because people are temporarily afraid. So here's the other thing, too. When you're talking about what's happening next week, you've got a lot of companies that are announcing their earnings. That's a very big deal. About over 80% of all the companies that have announced their earnings in the last several weeks have all been positive surprises. That means these companies are making more money than people expected. They thought that the world was coming to an end. Well, it looks like the good life is just beginning for some of these players, and a lot of the major companies are making higher revenues than was expected. They're making higher profits than were expected. This week, you got some big behemoths that are announcing their earnings this week. I want to say Apple. What was it? Apple. I think Alphabet. And a few others are announcing their earnings. So let me look at my notes here so I can remember. Let's see here. So basically, with Microsoft. Microsoft is another one. I believe that at least two out of those three companies are going to have positive earnings announcements. I believe that two out of those three, between Apple, Alphabet, and Microsoft, are going to pop up and surprise the hell out of everybody because they're going to start making a ton of money. Now, Ford and McDonald's, I see those two stocks listed in the chat. Just so you know, I did actually buy some Ford, and I also bought some McDonald's. And so somebody's at the front door. I don't know what's going on. Can you answer the door? Okay, so anyway, I'm at my sister's house and people answer. You know how it is when you try to do stuff and you got your siblings around and stuff. Anyway, so I do like Ford. I think Ford's going to do well in the electric vehicle market. So with that said, this week is going to be a big week for those reasons, mainly because of the earnings announcements. Also, the Fed is going to have a meeting this week, and the question is always whether or not the central bank's going to start to taper the massive financial support that they put into the economy. A lot of people don't believe they're going to taper. The Delta variant is great because not great, but the good thing about the Delta variant is that it's a wonderful smokescreen that gives the Fed an excuse to not taper back. And by tapering, I mean by not continuing with their massive support that they've been giving to your stock prices. A lot of you all remember, when we've been talking for years, and I've been telling you all that if you jump to the side of becoming an investor, then what happens is that capitalism starts to work in your favor. Before, when you were a worker, capitalism wasn't helping you because, unfortunately, you have a greedy society where wealthy people kind of take care of themselves and take care of each other. Government officials kind of support that because Fed policies tend to benefit people that make investments and people that own assets. So by becoming an asset owner, What's been happening is you've been making money because the Fed has been increasing the money supply consistently since the beginning of the pandemic. So the question was whether or not the Fed was going to stop doing that, and they were going to start slowing down because people kept talking about inflation and things like that. Well, the inflation concern is out the window. The COVID concern has reemerged to the point where people don't think we're going to have a clear, easy reopening, which therefore means, in my view, that the Fed is not going to taper anything. So I wouldn't be surprised if after the Fed meeting, you see another pop in stock prices as the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, steps out and says, you know what, because of the Delta variant and because of this and because of that, we're going to continue the course. We're going to continue to do what we were doing before because everybody likes to be right. And I believe that Jerome Powell wants to be correct about his assessment, and he wants to tell all his haters to go kiss his butt because a lot of people were giving him a lot of criticism last month, saying that he should start tapering, that he was putting too much money into the economy, and that it was going to go bad. Well, this emergence of the Delta variant, the shaking of the stock market, the fact that we have some chance that we could end up shutting down again is giving him every excuse to continue doing what he was doing. So I'm actually happy about that, and I'm happy for you because I think that's going to be good for you in terms of your money. Let's see here. So anyway, do me a favor if you could. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. If you want your kids to learn about wealth, we believe that Black people should be the educational system. We believe that Black people can educate our own kids, create our own jobs, and support Black businesses. We also believe that the B1 community can help build the future by creating 1 million children that are going to be business owners and wealth builders in the next generation. That's going to lead to a couple $1 trillion in wealth transfer because we want your children to be the smartest kids at the table. So if you want to get your child started, I don't care if your child is 1 year old, it's not too early to start teaching them about wealth. We have specialized financial workbooks and flashcards created by Black educators that you can go take a look at and see if you like them. And if you like them, we hope that you'll add them to your arsenal of books and your library at home. You can go to financialworkbooks.com. The URL is right there on the screen. That's financialworkbooks.com. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. All right, so let me tell you more about what's going on. About 165 companies out of the S&P 500 are about to report this week. Investors will be, let's see, I'm reading here on CNBC, they said investors will be keeping an eye on the bond market in the week ahead, as well as Thursday's report of the second quarter of GDP. So the bond market is interesting because they're going to be paying attention to what is called the 10-year Treasury yield. This is the yield being earned on 10-year Treasury bonds, which is an important indicator of expected future inflation. If that 10-year yield starts popping up, then what happens is that your tech stocks and your growth stocks tend to get hammered when the 10-year yield gets too high. Before, the yield was really high. Now the yield is actually extra low. And also with the 10-year yield, the thing about the 10-year yield is a lot of people argue that that's also transitory. That's also kind of a temporary phenomenon and not something that's likely to affect your long-term stock prices and things like that. Give me 1 second. What is that noise? Okay, thank you. Can I? I'm talking to I'm doing my podcast, so I just noise. All right, sorry guys, I'm talking to my sister. I love my sister, but when I'm doing stuff in other people's houses, I'm like, what's all that noise? So anyway, let me keep going. All right, so the other thing about this GDP. Okay, so GDP growth is going to be a big deal because GDP growth tells us where we are as an economy. So if GDP growth is higher than we expect, then that could be an inflationary indicator as well. If it's lower than we expect, that could be a deflationary indicator, which could mean that we could have economic problems arising in the future that could be connected to whatever's going on with the virus. So that's sort of what's going to happen. Those are the pieces of information that are going to move the market. And as these pieces of information pop out, then I will kind of pop in and kind of give you an assessment of what's going on and stuff like that. And also, don't forget on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, we always have Black Stock Market class. So if you'd like to join the Black Stock Market program and join us for class, you can send me your questions in advance. I will answer every single question that every single student submits to me. I do this every week, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. The first month costs you nothing. It's totally free. So feel free to take a look at the blackstockmarketprogram.com. We have thousands of students, and it's something that I know will benefit you. And if it doesn't, just let us know. We give you your money back. We have a whole staff at the Black Business School, 141,000 students worldwide. We've taught over 1 million Black people how to invest, and we've literally changed the culture. And I know that the next 20 years are going to be even more amazing than the first 10. So we're pretty good at what we do. All right, so let me look at some of your thoughts and some of your questions. Let's see, E. Jones, he was tardy. That's okay, man. You can go back to the beginning of the video and kind of check out what's going on there. Let's see, Cha says the inflation apocalypse in America. I do think that the value of your fiat currency is going to drop over time, but I wouldn't call it an apocalypse. I would just say it's just life. A lot of the central bankers around the world are actually doing a lot of the same things. So it's not just the United States that's deflating their currency or reducing the value of inflating, or reducing the value of their currency through inflation. A lot of countries are doing this. A lot of countries are taking on more debt. That's kind of the new thing, and I'm really curious to see how that plays out. And by the way, if you want my stock pick of the day, my stock pick of the day is Airbnb. I like Airbnb. I'm going to add some to my portfolio. There's an indicator that Airbnb could be underpriced. None of this is ever certain, but this is one of those stocks that a lot of experts believe could actually do well as the reopening occurs. And Airbnb tends to be pretty good at what they do. Their business model is solid, and they do a lot of hard work to really improve their app and improve the customer experience. So I'm a big fan of Airbnb right now. If you want to see all my other stocks in the blackstockmarketprogram.com, every week I tell my students all the stocks I'm buying and stuff like that. So that's another benefit that the students get in addition to all the curriculum and the chance to ask me questions and all that stuff. All right. So the other, let's see, the other point I wanted to throw in there was I was thinking about something today I wanted to share with you guys about how rich people make money. One thing you may not know, there's a Wall Street Journal article on this topic that I thought was really interesting and worth talking about. And basically they said the formula for many rich people is to let me think here, invest, borrow, and die. Invest, borrow, and die. So call it the IBD model. Type IBD in the chat if you're hearing what I'm saying. IBD. So invest, borrow, and die. So let me tell you what the rich have been doing that's really interesting, that's really getting the attention of regulators. And I don't know if they're ever going to change it. And the reason I don't think Congress is going to change it is because if you look at the portfolios of most people in Congress, most of those people are rich too. So if you ever think that your political leaders are going to pass laws that hurt their own wealth, then you're out of your damn mind. If you are convinced, if you somehow think that because Bernie Sanders is a socialist, he's going to really support socialist policies that are going to kill his millions of dollars in wealth, you ain't making no damn sense. I'm not telling you that it can't happen. I'm just telling you that I don't expect it to happen because I believe that at the end of the day, the common sense emerges in saying that people tend to do what's best for themselves. That's what it is, right? So here's what the IBD model is. Basically, what they're saying that rich people do to protect their wealth is they will invest and buy a bunch of assets. The same way you and I are buying stocks every week, that's what they do. That's what they do for life. They've been learning this. Known this since they were children. That's why many of them right now have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in assets. You're going to have at least tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of assets by the time you're done. And then your children will have millions of dollars in assets. So whether you are poor, I don't care if you're poor right now. I don't care how broke you are right now. I don't care how much of a struggle you're in right now. Your children are going to be rich, so you need to prepare them to deal with being rich. Ain't nothing about being rich that makes you unblack. Ain't nothing about being rich that means you ain't down. Ain't nothing about being rich that makes you evil. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. It is the love of money that is the root of all evil. So you should love yourself and use money as a tool to protect yourself, but money itself does not make you a bad person. So just tell your kids that when people start going, oh man, you ain't real, you ain't keeping it real, you ain't one of us, you just rich, you want a silver spoon in your mouth. No, you went out and built a silver spoon for yourself, and nobody should get mad at you because you're eating with a silver spoon every day if you went out and earned that in an honest way. So let me keep going with this. Let me explain to you. So invest, borrow, and die, IBD. What they said that a lot of rich people are doing is they're accumulating massive amounts of assets the same way you are right now. They're buying stock, but they're not selling the stock. They're not selling the stock. They're not really selling the real estate. They're holding on to the assets, right? Most wealthy people are net holders of their investments. They're not out here trying to sell and take the profit so they can go on a vacation. They're not trying to go scoop off some money so they can go, club it out on the weekend or go buy a new Cadillac. They're not really doing that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they don't own Cadillacs. I'm not saying they're doing any of that. But here's what they're doing. They're borrowing against their assets. They're holding the assets, and then they're going to the bank or whatever and getting loans. You can even borrow money off apps nowadays. And they're borrowing against those assets, and they're using that money to fund their lifestyle. They're funding their lifestyles by borrowing against the assets that they hold. So they have all the real estate, all the stocks, the businesses, whatever, and they're getting loans against those assets. Why? So they don't have to sell them. Because when they sell them, that's when you pay what is called a capital gains tax. They pay the capital gains tax based on how much money you made from the asset. So if I buy a house for 100,000, I sell it for 200K, then I'm going to pay taxes on 200 minus 100, which is 100K. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying here. Give me a yes in the chat just to make sure I'm not. Sometimes I get accused of talking too fast or talking over people's heads, stuff like that. So I'm not going to dumb it down for you. Some people think I should talk low because they say, well, black people can't understand. No, I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Black people are not ignorant. Maybe your friends are ignorant, but the black folks I talk to are not ignorant. But I want to make sure you understand. So give me a yes to confirm that you're following what I'm saying. So what happens is you pay taxes on the capital gains, the money that you made, the profit that you picked up on the investment is what you get taxed on. So a lot of people won't sell so they don't have to pay capital gains taxes, or the assets that they do sell are going to be their losers, so they can cut their tax bill, right? And they hold on to the winners. Do you follow me? Okay. So here's the crazy part. This is what's really interesting. Now, I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not an expert on taxes. So just take it with a grain of salt. But this is what I know. When you die and you leave money to your kids, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do a DMX. We're gonna handle our business. Don't disrespect the DMX. He's a great rapper, but not a good financial planner, right? Crack isn't necessarily good for life planning. We know this, right? So we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do the DMX. We're gonna plan for our kids. We're gonna leave them some assets. And what happens is when you die, you leave the assets to your kids, right? The assets transfer to the kids. Well, there is a reset button with the IRS that basically says that the capital gains tax that your children pay is only based on the capital gains that emerge during their lifetime. Do you follow me? So that means that if your house, you could have bought a house, and let's say you buy a house in 2021 for 200K, and you never sell that house. You pass it to your children, and the house is worth 800K by the time you sell it. That's 600K in capital gains taxes, right? Well, your child gets that house at 800K. Let's say they sell it for 900K. They're only going to pay capital gains taxes on $100,000. They're not going to pay it on the 600K that you earn because you dead. They don't tax dead people. They can't go to heaven and get the tax money out of you. You're going to be gone. So basically, they said that's the new thing rich people are doing. They're buying assets, holding those assets, borrowing against those assets, using those assets as a capital base that they can borrow against, and then they're passing the assets to their children who don't really have to pay capital gains taxes until they sell. And in fact, your child may never sell. Your child may hold it and pass it to their kids. Right. So this is one of those little things. Maybe this is going to help you. Again, take it with a grain of salt. Maybe some details I might have missed because, again, I am not a tax accountant. I'm not a tax attorney. So if there is anybody in here that's a tax expert that saw an area where I might have missed a little, might have not dotted an I across the T, please forgive me. Chalk it up to the fact that I just want to get the information out there and talk to my people and share what I can. So there's probably more details you'd have to talk to your tax accountant about. But this is what rich people are doing. And remember, the number one rule to becoming a rich person, guess what the number one rule is to becoming rich? Ask me. Say, what is it, Boyce? Somebody type that in the chat. As you hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. Ask me, what is the number one rule to becoming rich? Somebody just say, what is it, Boyce? The number one rule to becoming rich is to start doing what rich people do. Like, that's it. Just look at what they're doing and do some of what they're doing. Period. I think about this. A lot of times, the reason some of us stay broke is because we're imitating broke people. Like you have broke people who haven't succeeded, who are giving you advice. And I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's your health, your wealth, or your relationships, or any of that. Don't take advice from people who don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, you don't learn how to run a marathon from a person who's never run a marathon. Like a sprinter can't teach you how to run a marathon because sprinters only know how to sprint. So it's like dating. Like, if you're dating or being married is a marathon, and you shouldn't try to run a marathon with a sprinter, right? If you're talking about wealth, a lot of people that may criticize what you're doing when it comes to investing in wealth in your family are people who have no money themselves. I'm sure that you've been told many times to watch out for the stock market from people who've never invested in the stock market, people who don't have much money, right? So if you are taking advice from people who are not successful, then what you're going to end up doing is getting the same results that they get. right? Or if you look at relationship advice, it's so funny to me. People get some people online are getting all their relationship advice from people who don't have a healthy relationship. Well, people like that aren't going to really help you achieve your goal. You need practical information, right? So just like when Michael Jordan was on his documentary, I thought it was really funny. He said they said, "Well, we heard that you were mean, and they said that you were this and you were that." And he basically said it real simple. He said, "All those people, they've never effing won anything before." He said they've never won anything before, so they don't even know that all those people who criticize how I win championships are the very people who never win championships. So when it comes to building your wealth and winning your championships in your life, whether that means losing weight, whether that means having a good relationship, whether that means building your money up and achieving financial security, whether it means breaking a generational curse that's been in your family for 100 years. If you want to win championships, you're going to have to really be incredibly bold and aggressive about pursuing the strategy that you believe is going to work, and you learn that from people who've done what you're trying to do. That's my thought for today. It's a Sunday, so I did a little bit of extra talking today that I might not normally do. Normally, I'm all business on a Monday through Friday, but on the Sunday, I said, it's a Sunday. Let me go ahead and preach a little bit, because you cannot tell me that this is not just a journey of knowledge. A lot of people know exactly what they need to do. This is not a conversation about access to information. Everybody has access to information. Every single person has the entire Encyclopedia Britannica and beyond on their cell phone. You've got access to the entire world on your cell phone. So what's the difference between the person who turns on their cell phone to make themselves smarter versus the person who turns on their cell phone to make themselves more ratchet or make themselves dumber, or who pays attention to all the wrong things, and then their lives end up reflecting that, right? It's a choice. It's a matter of choice. So I want to encourage you to keep making the right choices and keep believing in yourself. And I just want to warn you also that the more you achieve your goals, the more you're going to become disconnected from a lot of folks that are doing the wrong things. Because in this world, they're gonna always argue to you that you got wealthy because you got lucky and they didn't get lucky, or you got wealthy because you acting white, or you got wealthy because you think you stuck up, or you think you better than them because you don't want your kids around their kids. Well, when I was a kid, my mother, all the kids I grew up with when I was little, almost all those kids ended up in jail, um, or ended up on drugs or unemployed or whatever. I'm talking about kids I went to kindergarten with, elementary school with, all that. And one of the things my parents used to do is they pretty much said, our kids are not going to be around your kids. If your kids are doing things that don't make any sense or look dangerous to us or are going to put them in a bad situation, your kids can't hang with our kids. And people thought they were uppity for that. But I thank God that my parents had the guts to stand up against some of the silliness that's out here, some of the ignorance that's out here. So keep being smart. I know that I gave you a little bit more than you asked for. If that was too much, if me sharing that extra sauce outside of the financial information is too much, that's okay. You don't have to be here for that. But I share this because this is my journey. That was the stuff that made the difference for me. That was, when I made millions of dollars and did everything that I did in my life, it was that extra emotional push that got me over the hump. It was the spiritual journey that got me there. It was learning how to be courageous in the face of all kinds of obstacles and opposition that got me there. It was letting go of the need to fit in that got me there. And to this day, there are some places I fit in very well. Some places I go where I'm very popular and everybody loves me and everything's great. But there's some places I go to where I am an absolute outcast. And I'm gonna tell you, if you're talking about a group of losers, I want to be the biggest outcast there ever was. I want you to hate me for the same reason that all the losers hated Michael Jordan, because they thought he was too mean when he was out here winning championships, because I want to be a winner. I don't want to be a bust. I don't want to be a loser. So that's what it is. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. I hope that this helps you. Bless you. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. And I want you to know also, Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock, we do the book club, the Dr. Boyce Book Club. You can actually get free access to my life class at blackkeystogreatness.com. The URL's right there on the screen. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. So feel free to go register. We're covering Black labor, white wealth, by Dr. Claude Anderson. We're on week 4, and I'm telling you, this Dr. Anderson's books are so good. It'll change your life. And what I decided to do was to have a free book club and life class where you can come in and I will break those books down for you in extreme detail. It's going to take us probably years to get through them all, but that's what it is. And that's what we're doing every Wednesday night. So feel free to join us at blackkeystogreatness.com. So hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button on your way out. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Love you. Peace.